Alright guys, Scrappy again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Potentially a seismic day in the history of competitive Call of Duty last night with some of the most talented controller players in the world indicating their intention to come to the CDL and play Black Ops 7 professionally. Pretty much the entire OpTic Halo team has now indicated this intention, and there is a reason why people are getting pretty excited about this in the scene at the moment. We've thought over the last few years the league was getting rather top heavy. This talent is undeniable. Will they be forced to start in challenges? Will CDL teams give them offers? Will any of these guys be able to replicate anything like what Shotzzy has done over the last few years? There is a reason why people are excited about it. Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Plenty of things to get right into here. I don't know if Toronto mean anything by this. We know that Mamba, I mean, like, obviously it's just because they played their recent tournament, right? But just to mention, Mamba, Vivid, Mac and Craze, that's the Omit team. We think they might get linked to the Surge, but we're not really sure. And if Surge don't pick them up as a full quartet, could they get picked up by another team as a full quartet, or is it more likely they end up going separate ways? Now, we do wonder as well what's going to happen with which organisations are actually in COD. We'll definitely talk about it in the coming minutes here, Space Station Gaming, because rumour has it SSG are going to basically get the Ravens spot. Now, maybe that won't come to fruition. Hastro's made it pretty clear that he wants Envy to come back to Call of Duty. It's not happened just yet. Probably doesn't think it makes sense to just get a Challengers team who'd want to come back into the league, and now they've got the partnership with Native Gaming. There is an opportunity, I would say, there in the future, and as Hastro says, I'm really proud of the team of people working on Envy, from players to coaches to staff. We've become competitive in less than 8 months since they pretty much started things up again. Some local plans in the Dallas area coming soon, so we'll see what this looks like, whether they come back to COD, at what point they come back to COD. I think that Envy will be back in Call of Duty. It's probably just a matter of time, but how that all transpires, given the league is currently static with 12 teams, and over the last few years we have seen some of those teams get sold, right, go to different ownership. The poverty orgs are basically disappearing, and even if the poverty orgs aren't disappearing, because some of them still don't have that much money to play around with, they are, at least, given the current state of the league, a little bit more profitable than they have otherwise been. And as a result, the teams are kind of keen to stick around anyway. So I think we might need expansion at some point to start to see proper new teams coming through, especially now we think Ravens might finally be going, and pretty much that's the end of the poverty orgs. You would think, at least for the time being anyway. Couple of roster things. This is just one. Of course, we've seen lots of Black Ops 3 chals over the last few days. We had Drazah here was playing with 04, and 04 find himself in a 1 versus 2. Just interesting to see these two playing a 2v2 chal. Doesn't necessarily mean anything, but 04 gets one and then absolutely slabs the guy with the RK5. It is what it is. So yeah, Drazah was pretty happy about it. We think that it might well be his new FaZe teammate. It's not yet been confirmed, but we think Drazah's staying on FaZe. We think 04's coming along for the ride as well. There was a rumour a little while ago that K-Sun was saying, look, this Legends guy, who we'll discuss here in a second, is pretty damn good. Could FaZe consider him? And I think it's a really interesting question, because I'm not going to lie, these Halo players we're about to talk about, if I'm a team that's further down the order, I'm absolutely having the conversation. Yeah, the Challengers players might not like it because they've been grinding COD for years, but there's a reason why you might want to give this a go. I think the question becomes, how good of a team do you have to be before this stops becoming a possibility? There's plenty of talent in the COD League as it is. We've seen that last season, Surge getting, far more success maybe than people would have expected with that roster going into the season. And there is plenty of talent out there, but over the last few years in COD, there's been a feeling of, well, is it a 4-team league? Is it a 3-team league? Is it a 2-team league? Right? Like, we had those discussions last season at times, and then when we thought it was a 2-team league because OpTic were failing and then FaZe were winning everything, it was like, damn, is it a 1-team league? But the idea of this new talent coming in means that even teams that are further up the standings might have to think about, damn, like, is this team good enough to win? Do we need to take some risk on some, really talented players? But Drazah and 04 we think are going to be teaming with one another. So let's get into it then. So a few days ago now, this is actually on the 26th of July, a month ago, Legend confirms free agent for Black Ops 7. So this is when Halo confirms that next year, the HCS official competition series is not going to be running for Halo Infinite. There will be some tournaments by third parties, but effectively it's coming to a close for Halo Infinite. And this is just kind of sad, really, right? Like, mismanagement from 343 or from Microsoft or whatever you want to say, because I think Halo Infinite's a pretty good game, to be honest. I had a good time playing it when it first came out. It was really exciting when it first came out. Loads of players were, obviously, form was moving over there. There were lots of optimism around that game. And I like the Halo scene in general. I don't follow it that closely anymore, but when Halo Infinite came around, I made a channel called Halo News. But then before I made any videos on it, I decided it's probably not going to be the most sensible thing, because we've seen this with Halo before and it's probably going to happen again. And, you know, I'm not happy about the fact that I was right, but like, yeah, I was right to pivot and do Formula 1 on that channel instead. When I do live streams on my F1 channel for like pre-shows and stuff for the races, it still comes up on my OBS as Halo News, because that's how the channel was when I first made it. And yeah, I decided not to do that because unfortunately this was kind of inevitable, and it's happened, and here we go again. We've seen this in Halo before. 2013, prime example, number of Halo players making the transition to Call of Duty. At the time, really only 2 of them made it work successfully. Those are, of course, Formal and Enable. Those are the 2 that probably made the transition. In recent years, we have seen more have some success. Obviously, Huke went and played it for a little while and he came back. Even Kremp, right, played a bit of Halo before he came to COD. And then in recent times, you're looking at Shotzzy, you're looking at Neptune, really, as exciting players that have also done incredible things in Halo as well. Now, we've got another batch of players that are going to be looking to make the transition here for Black Ops 7, and there may well be more than just the players that we mention here today, but the players we're going to mention today are undeniably incredibly talented with a controller in their hand. Legend, when we talked about this was a big deal at the time. One of the brightest prospects, I mean, not even a prospect anymore, the guy's godlike at Halo, plays for the OpTic team right now, French player. People are saying, oh, next HyDra, next HyDra. Who knows, right? Could there be next Shotzys? Because we're talking about the likes of Renegade and we're talking about the likes of Bound officially making their announcement yesterday that they will also come and play Black Ops 7. So Halo's still got a long way to go. They've got until October, I think, is when their World Championship is. So it's a little while away. But still, they are saying, look, we're here. We want to play competitive COD next season. Bang our line, as it were. And let's get something rolling and potentially get contracts signed. Because if they don't get it, done now, then it's probably not going to happen, right? The teams are going to have locked up their deals, they're locked up their teams for next season, and their opportunity will be starting challenges, show out, and then try and get picked up by a better team. But this is a big deal. Players of this caliber, right? Renegade and Bounds and Legends from the OpTic Halo team. Ghosty in the replies is, kind of saying all the dominoes are falling now. And people who watch Halo and know what these guys have done in Halo over the last couple of years, even before they were on OpTic, know that people that know ball will take this very seriously, right? This is not a case of like, oh, well, send them down to challenges and we'll see how they get on. That may be true for some of them, or maybe true for some other Halo players that try and make the transition. But the reason why this is getting quite exciting, and we got ZooMaa in the replies here, dropping the eyes emoji, we'll see what he had to say in a second on his potential return to competitive Call of Duty. But these guys changed the game in Halo. It's not just like, oh, Halo players have good gunny. Now that is true, right? Because it's difficult to shoot in that game, so these players tend to be very talented individually. And their awareness has to be good because, there's no mini-map and stuff like this. So there's a lot of kind of characteristics of a great Halo player that transfer, as we have seen before, very well to competitive Call of Duty as well. Now, would it take time to get up to speed and learn the things you've got to learn? Sure, absolutely. And you'd want to put these guys on a team with a veteran or someone like that to help learn the ropes quicker than they might otherwise do. But it's not like, oh, they shoot straight and they've got good awareness and they could probably make it work in COD. Like, these guys play at serious pace. Now, I will just quickly go over ZooMaa, free agent for Black Ops 7. I don't know if he's going to make the glorious return and start hitting flanks again. I think it's pretty unlikely, but who knows, right? Maybe ZooMaa plays for the Stallions. Maybe he captains his own Stallions team next season and brings on some of these guys as well. But look, let's not talk about the ZooMaa thing for too much longer because I do want to focus on these Halo guys. And we did put it on the website, right? Renegade and Bound also becoming free agents for the upcoming season. ZooMaa has officially made the list as well. But these guys play at serious pace, right? Like, these are players who, if they came to Call of Duty, they could run an AR, sure, anyone can run an AR. It's difficult to find incredibly talented players who can play at pace and run an SMG. Effectively, what we're talking about here is players like Shotzzy and like Neptune, really, right? That is, and we know what Neptune did this most recent season. You throw a bit of advanced movement into the game, and all of a sudden, you've got a talking point on your hands, and this game will have a bit of advanced movement in the game at the very least. We also know, for example, Frosty, didn't mention him so far, but Frosty, great, like absolute Halo legend. He came to COD in Black Ops 4 when there was that other kind of like second wave. It happens every like 5 years or so when the Halo players, like Halo dies and they're like, all right, we're going to come to Call of Duty, and fair enough. Frosty made the transition. He had great success. Given the team that he had on Enigma 6 in Black Ops 4, they were really good. And the next year on Florida in Modern Warfare 19, Frosty was a great player, and they won a number of those online championships. Then he wasn't picked up inexplicably for Cold War, went back to Halo, and I think probably wants to stay in Halo now. But it's not like there's not a history of Halo players coming to COD and winning immediately, right? Formal came to COD, won immediately. Shotzzy came to COD, won immediately. Frosty came to COD and pretty much won immediately. So, there's a number of examples like this, and it's very interesting, players of this caliber, and like just the pace that they play, right? I think that's the thing, that if these guys do get on teams and whatever, you'll see that in their play. That it's not like we've just got, another couple of talented players, right? Like, these are guys who could play the game in a way that we don't have many players that can do it. I think that's what's quite exciting for me. You look at the league and you say, well, Simp and aBeZy, they've been around so long and they've won all this, and they've, let's say Tiny Terror's most successful duo ever, whatever you want to say. They are some of the oldest players in the league now. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but like, it is true. And you're looking at Dashy, right? He still feels like kind of a young gun, but he's not. He's like the oldest player in the league at this point, at like 27 or something. But, it's obviously not old, but you know what I'm saying. And it's not about age, because these guys, I think, are also 24, 25. I think that Legend is younger. He's maybe 21 or something. So it's not about age. It's more like a lot of the players who are the top dogs in the league are getting towards what you'd think would be certainly the second half of their career, right? So people have been wondering, well, look at the teams, the talent stacked on the top rosters, OpTic, maybe FaZe slightly less so this season, but still going to have a good team. Thieves, obviously. Having some more talent with huge potential in the league is going to be exciting, right? Especially to see where it goes. Not to say that these teams are going to go and sign these guys immediately, the top rosters, but somebody has got to be thinking about it. Just to quickly share, this is Renegade's recent record in Halo. Of course, he was on FaZe last year, and this is what Legend did with Bound for some time on of course, well, it was Quadrant, and then it became Space Station Gaming. And that's the other key point. When we talk about who might be interested in these guys, yeah, they might, Renegade, Legend, Bound, start on OpTic Nation down in Challenges. That would be exciting, right? I think it would actually be a great watch. But I kind of doubt it's going to happen, because I'm expecting at least one of them to just get signed straight into the league. I'd frankly be surprised if that doesn't happen, especially because if you're any organisation further down than like Toronto, if you're Toronto, OpTic, FaZe, Thieves, I get it, right? Gentlemates, they form that good team, we think, with Envoy, Sib, Ghosty, Neptune. It's like, well, do you want to not do that and take a risk on a Halo guy? Probably not, but Shotzzy is the classic example, right? He came in for Modern Warfare 19 on Dallas Empire. They knew this guy was going to be godlike, and he wasn't great for the first couple of months, and after that, he was the MVP and he won the World Championship. So, and that was Kremp, Clay, Huke, and iLLeY, right? Like, obviously, iLLeY was also a rookie, but like, they went for Shotzzy. So I'm just wondering whether there's a chance that another top team thinks similarly now. I kind of doubt it, but it might be a mistake. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, Legends, let's say he goes to Boston. This is probably not going to happen, but you know what I mean? And he's absolutely on smoke. FaZe, 3 months in, might be like, all right, we'll just buy him out. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happening. But if those teams I mentioned, if Surge, let's say Boston, all the other teams that had a difficult time last season don't go for these guys, I'd be very surprised if Space Station Gaming, if they do get the Ravens spot, don't just say, lads, do you just want to come play for us or whatever? Because the Bound and Legend had lots of success for them in Halo. I'd be very surprised if they don't think the same thing for COD as well. Formal is the only one of that OpTic team to not say anything. What does that mean? Is he going to make the return, right? There has been a bit of talk about it. Ghost to Hope is, I mean, look at him. He's hating on Kenny here. I thought it was pretty funny. But he does say LA Thieves would drop Kenny for Formal in a heartbeat. What do you think about that? Just as a, like, we'll just throw it out there, right? Like, let's say Formal says, hey, Scrap, do you want me? Right? Like, I'll be your AR instead of Ken. What do they do? I think it's a debate. Because, yeah, Kenny's numbers last year weren't great, but also Formal, does he want to commit all that time to CODs? You know, he's like 31 now. So, I don't know, it's interesting. Formal hasn't said I'm coming to CODs. I don't expect that he will, but we'll see. Time will tell on that one. But very much interested to your thoughts, as always, on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.